Welcome to Researcher Hub learning video. So this is a part 2 of learning video which discuss on how to develop project indicators. So this part 2 we will discuss on the different levels of indicator, different type of indicators, and the process that we're gonna develop a single indicators for any project. Before moving to our further discussion, for those who are new to this video, just let you know that in this channel, you will learn how to develop a project, the project management, monitoring and evaluation, social research, and so on. So if you would like to follow us, please make sure you subscribe to our channel. We are posting one new video in every week. Now back to our video, our learning video. So like I mentioned earlier, we will discuss all these elements. So let's continue from another video. So today we're gonna discuss, first of all, we're gonna discuss on the level of indicators. For those who haven't watched another video that I discuss about the different elements of the project, since the indicators will go along with the project's components. So here's the project components that we have. We have inputs and activities. We have outputs. We have outcomes and impacts. So in another video, I discuss very detailed all about these elements. So if you would like to understand project clearly, please watch my video in the link below here that the title is the title of that video is the project log frame. Look at that video and then you will get a better understanding of these components of the project. So then we have indicators. The level of indicators or indicators that gonna develop to measure all this. Here you can see that there are four components or 4 steps or 4 level. However, I will group this only into 2 steps or 2 level of indicators. So for level, we call it output indicators, activity and output indicators. Other people might call it process indicators. That's fine, but it's just only terminology. But just let you understand that this type of indicators or this level of indicators is used to demonstrate the progress of the project only. So you form these indicators, this level of indicator, just to demonstrate the progress of the project. Or another word, you just demonstrate the progress of the activity. So in this level, the indicator is not intended to measure any change. Normally, this type of indicator, this level of indicator, you will see start with the number here. You will see, like, for example, in this one, number of farmers who receive training on climate change adaptation by the end of project. So they have like here, number of farmers, start with number. So since this is this indicator just only demonstrate the output, the progress of the output only. Or another word, you can say that it just only demonstrate of the progress of the activity. How many activity has been done, how many people involved in that activity, that kind of thing. So it is about demonstrating the progress. For next level, I classify it as another level of indicators, which is, I call it outcome or impacts indicators. So this indicator, mainly you use it to measure change. What does this measure change? Which all the way, like in the indicator statement, you will very often you will see a verb or change in that statement. For example, here, increase. You might see the verb this, increase from X to Y, or decreased, or improve. So those are very popular or very common words that you can find in the outcome or impacts indicator statement. There's many more words or verb of change that can be used in the impacts and outcome indicator. I just mentioned only 3, but a lot more. You can explore, or you may experience different from here. Once again, just emphasize this. So this indicator is used to measure change. Therefore, we are not interested to see the progress or the number. We are not interested to see the number, but what we would like to see, we're really interested to see the changes of people thinking, or how many percent of people have been changed, their thinking have been changed. How many percent of our target group have changed their practice. So we are looking for change in the, like my previous learning video, we are discussing on the change of the outcome and the impacts. So at the outcome level and impacts level, we are looking for change that happen at the practice. So very often, this indicator start with percentage. For example, percentage of target farmers reported applying at least 5 methods of agricultural climate change adaptation increased from X% to Y% by the end of project. So like you can see over here, so this indicator start with percentage, and there's a word increase here, a word of change here, increase. So increase from X to Y. So percentage of target farmer reported applying at least 5 methods of agricultural climate change adaptation increased from X% to Y% by the end of project. So this is we call outcome or impacts indicators. In the following, we will know exactly is this the outcome indicators or this is the impact indicator indicator. All I mentioned earlier, watch another video on the project components or the project log frame, then you can tell this indicator is for measuring outcome or measuring the impact. By just reading the statement of indicator, you understand exactly this indicator is only for measuring the, only measuring the outcome. It's not for the impact, right? So if you would like to have a good understanding, or you can differentiate whether this indicator is for impact or is for outcome, just make sure you watch another video. In conclusion, there are 2 levels of indicators. First level demonstrate the progress of the project, which is more focused on number. Very often it starts with number. Another level of indicators, which is used to measure the changes, which is very often they start with percentage. So the first is for demonstrate the progress, and the second level is for measuring changes. Next, we are moving to the different types of indicators. Commonly, the indicators are classified into two types, which is called qualitative indicator and quantitative indicators. So the qualitative indicators is used to measure the quality, opinions, attitudes, or belief. Very often, we are using this indicator, we are more interested to see the emerging of something. We are not really interested to see the number. When we are using this type of indicator, we just would like to see the emerging of phenomenon. We are not really interested to know how many percent of our target group have changed or have increased their knowledge, but we just would like to know whether their knowledge have been changed or not. So that is our question. Through their involvement with our intervention, with our project intervention, is there any change of their knowledge? That's what we would like to know. Is there any change on their thinking? So that's what we would like to know from this indicator. Let me walk you through the example, then we can you can clearly see what I'm talking about. So this is an impact statement, one of impact statement that a single project have. The ability of subnational administrations to monitor, report, and solve conflicts have been strengthened. So this project would like to strengthen the capacity of subnational administrations to monitor, report, and solve the conflicts. Look at the indicator have been used so far. One of its indicators was subnational administrations believe that monitoring conflict reports would help prevent the conflicts escalating. Here, the project designer, just would like to see whether there's a belief change. There's a change in among subnational administration. In the baseline, there's no people or subnational administration does not believe that by monitoring the conflicts report would have to prevent the conflict escalating. The projects might apply some intervention, just make sure this type of perception or belief would happen. So then this indicator is used to measure that. So when you're using this type of indicator, it is called qualitative indicators. Another example, this is the outcome statement. Improve farmers' practice toward agricultural climate change adaptation. So this project would like to see the improvement of farmers' practice toward agricultural climate change adaptation. So one of indicator was used here. Percentage of farmer reported applying at least five methods of agricultural climate change adaptation increased from X% to Y% by the end of project. So like you can see here, there's like I mentioned earlier, there's a percentage here, but at the beginning started with the percentage, and there's a verb of change here. More importantly, in the qualitative indicators, you can see it here. Applying at least five methods. So at least 5 methods here is the qualitative information. This indicator is not just only measure not just only interested to see whether people apply or not, but they also would like to know how many methods has been applied. So here is more qualitative information, qualitative data has been collected through this indicator. So therefore, when you see this type of indicator, you can call it qualitative indicator because it is collecting the qualitative data. So in short, in conclusion, a qualitative indicator. So a qualitative indicator is more looking at the emerging. It's not interested to see the number, and also it is collecting the qualitative data. Next one is the quantitative indicator. This type of indicator is only used to measure the quantity. Now let's look at the same example that we see earlier. Here, just the same impact statement, but we have different indicators. Here it is. Percentage of subnational administrations reporting the conflict to the national level. So you can see here, by using this this indicator, we are only interested to see how many percent of subnational administrations reporting the conflicts to the national level. So here we are not interested to see how many record has been reported to the national, but we just would like to know how many percent of subnational administration reported the conflicts. So we are not interested how it was reported. We don't care whether it's reported by just an email or whether it just reported by phone. We don't care. What we care, whether they report it or not. So it's about the how many percent of them has been reported. That's what we're interested to know. Another indicator that the same outcome statement that we see earlier, it is here: improve farmer practice toward agricultural climate change adaptation. The indicator here that we have here, percentage of target farmers reported applying the agricultural climate change adaptation methods, increased from X% to Y% by the end of project. Like you guys can see here, in this indicator statements, you can see only the word applying. So here, the designer is interested to see that how many percent of target farmer has applied agricultural or climate change adaptation methods. Even like one method, that's fine, right? As long as they report they apply, we count it for this type of indicator. So what methods has been applied? How it was applied? Who cares, right? In conclusion, this indicator is more focused on quantity rather than the quality. And very often, like I said, it starts with percentage. So the quantitative is more focused on the quantity, and qualitative is more focused on quality or perception or emerging of any phenomenon. Now let's move to the process of developing the indicators. You might experience many processes, many steps that you can develop indicator, or when you develop a list of indicators for your project. But here I would group them into only 4 steps over here. Step number 1, you must know clearly what you want to measure. So in this step, before you move to develop any indicators, I would encourage you to study closely to understand your project very well, or to understand what you want to measure. By saying this, meaning that you need to know your outputs, because we just discussed earlier, you need to know we have an indicator for activities and outputs. You might need to create some indicator for them. Therefore, you need to know them very well as well. You need to know your outcomes. What type of change you would like to see from your project. You need to know the impacts. What type of impacts that you would like to have from your projects. If you don't know all these kind of things, you cannot do anything. You cannot develop a good indicators to measure them. It's like this. If you're not sure what you want to measure, whether you want to measure the vase here or you want to measure the flower here. So if you're not sure, then you cannot select an appropriate indicator to measure it. Similarly with this beautiful girl, if you know exactly what you want to measure, whether you would like to measure her size or her weight, then it's easy, right? You can use a different measurement. In the first part of this video, we discussed different type of measurement, and indicators is like a measurement. So if you know that, you can use you can select the measurement accordingly. Now let's see this example together, then we will develop indicators for this project together. So let's look at this project with me. So this is a small project that we have. It is about a village web project. See, we discussed earlier, in the first step, we need to understand the activity and outputs of the project. So here are key activities, providing TOT training for village webs, and this is the outputs that project is interested to know. Second key activity is providing training to the chicken farmers. Third is organizing refresher training for the village web on technical skills. And these are the key outputs. Fourth, organizing public events to educate people about something. Maybe here is probably about hygiene or about farming, probably chicken farming. And the output that the project is interested to know is number of public events, number of people attended or access to the public event. And this is the outcomes. So the one of outcome is improve villagers with technical knowledge and skill, improve villagers' knowledge and awareness on animal health and human health, change villagers' misperception toward animal health and animal health, improve good practice among target groups. And there are and the impacts for the projects here. They have a three expected impacts. The first one is about contributed to improving the household incomes in target community, contributed to increasing the med supply in the target communities, and last one is decreasing poverty and sickness in the target community. So again, I repeat this again. If you would like to know further how to formulate a outcome impact statement, please watch another video that I made. It's about the project log frame. So here, like you can see the statement here, it said that contributed to improving household income in the target communities. Mostly, as we know that a single project cannot improve household income in the communities, but we know that we can contribute to it, right? So that's why a good impact statement normally start with contributed to doing something, to increase, to decrease, or to improving, that kind of thing. So now let's summarize. So this is the key output that the project have. It's about the training and event sections. That's the project would like to know. So this is something that we might need to develop an indicator to track this, to make sure that we can track the progress on this one, like we discussed earlier. So it's more about the indicator for this one is about more demonstrating the progress. So an indicator that we can track the progress of this kind of thing. Train TOT, refresher train webs. We also need to have indicators to measure to track this. Villagers access to the public events. So there are 4 key activities that we need to develop indicators and track them closely. Move to the outcome. Also, we have 4 outcomes we just mentioned earlier. I just summarized it here. First, increase web knowledge and skill. Second, increased villagers' awareness. Change villagers' misperception. improve good knowledge. Also for here, we need to develop indicator. We need to discuss and then develop indicators. Now we know exactly what we would like to measure, right? So from here, the outcome that we would like to measure is whether there's a increased knowledge and skill among VET or not from our intervention. Whether there's an increase of villagers' awareness or not, change villagers' perception. Is there any change toward villagers' misperception due to our project's intervention? And also, is there any improved good practice among target population due to our project intervention? So this is the outcomes that we would like to measure. The next level is the impacts. The project has three expected impacts or intended impacts that the project would like to contribute to. First is about the household incomes. We would like to see whether is there any change or any increase of household income due to our project. Is there any changes in the community on the meat supply due to the project? And poverty and health. Is there any decrease of poverty rate or disease rate in the community due to the project? So if we know exactly what we would like to measure here, you can summarize that. Here's things you would like to measure. Then I believe you can develop indicators to measure each one here. So this is the backbone of the project. If you would like to, if you can describe this, we can move to the next step to develop indicators to measure each one. But if you could not understand this, if you cannot, if you don't know exactly what you would like to measure, I'm saying this sometimes you can tell that you have a clear project statement, right? You might say that you have a clear outcome statement. In this case, I walk you through this example by not just look at the statement of each output, outcomes or impacts, but I try to summarize each statement through my understanding, like this. Make it simple, make it like summarize it, and then make sure you understand what you would like to measure. From here, then I know exactly that what I would like to measure, whom I would like to measure, then I can develop the indicators to measure it. Now let's start to develop an indicator to measure them. Here's step 2, right? Step 2, we're going to, one, we understand exactly what we would like to measure. Now we can start drafting in indicator for each outcome statement or impact statement or even like output statements. Once again, we have here how many that you would like. That we have 4, 8, 3, so 11. So we have 11 things that we would like to measure, or we require to develop the indicators to measure it. We don't have time to discuss one by one actually. Therefore, I would like to pick up only one statement from the outcome statement to walk you through to develop indicators. Let's pick up this statement, improve good practice among target groups. So just example of an outcome statement here, improve good practices among target groups. So this is the statement, this is the change that we would like to see. So therefore, we will select indicators, we will discuss on how to develop an indicator or pick up any indicator to measure these statements. First of all, we need to brainstorm it to develop indicator by if you are M&A officer, M&A manager. I know that you have a good understanding. I know that you have a good knowledge in M&A, but I'm telling you from my experience, M&A personnel, you are not agricultural specialist. I don't know much about agriculture. I know a lot about M&A, about a smart indicator, but I don't know about agriculture. That's why I need to consult with other people. That's why I said here, consult with experts, technical or sectoral expert. As M&A personnel, we are not conservation specialists. I work for the conservation projects. I know nothing about conservation, about forests. I just know M&A. I don't know about the conservation, about the forest, about the wildlife. So we have no idea. I have no clue which indicator is good, which is not good. I joined the organization working to protect worker rights. As M&A, I'm not a worker rights specialist. I don't know about a worker rights. I work for the public health. I'm not a public health professional, practitioners. You don't know, right? So you are M&A, you are not public health specialist. Keep in mind this. So as an M&A personnel, we are not a specialist for all these sectors. In another word, M&A personnel doesn't know the best measurement for any intended change for this sector. You may be aware of it, but you don't know exactly what is the best change for each outcome or impact. Only the sectoral expert or technical person that they can tell. Therefore, you need to consult with expert in the field. If you work in agricultural sector, you need to consult with the project manager who is a technical in agriculture. If you work in the public health, you might consult with public health practitioners who know in and out about the any intended change you would like to measure. So what is your role as M&A? What we can do, we only can work with those experts to select or frame a smart indicator. So we are specialists here, right? As M&A officer, M&A manager, or M&A specialist, we are good at selecting, framing a smart indicator. But we don't know which indicator is most appropriate for measuring any intended change. Without consulting with those experts or consulting with the secondary data, we have no clue. I'm telling you from my experience, I made a lot of mistakes here. I used to assume that I know everything. I can do it. But after 1 year involving with the project, I realized that my indicator was not appropriate to measure any intended change. I have to revise indicator again in the second year. Submit to the donor saying that, just admit that the first G indicators mail plan was not good enough to measure the intended change. So just ask them to revise it. So that's from my experience. Therefore, I learned from this mistake. I need to consult with expert. Sometimes consult only one or two is not enough. You need to consult with almost everyone in the organizations. So like get all idea, then you can select an most appropriate indicators. Then once you in that process, we need to write down all potential indicators that you feel like it's possible to measure that one. So normally that in my process, I just write down all indicators that they propose, or I saw it on the when I consult with the secondary data, I saw it as good in indicators. I just in the drafting process, just note it down, and when I hear from another people, another expert, just note it down, and then in the next step that we can drop it up, we can shortlist it. So just write it down, probably like actually when you write it down, I'm not also to save time, don't write 20 or 10 indicators. I mean more than 10 is too much actually. And during the drafting, you also can screen it actually, probably like up to 10. Probably you feel like a good indicators for one statement, just keep up to 10. That's more than enough to make a short list. It's just like you in recruiting a staff actually. You don't need to write down all any potential, but when we say potential indicators, you already make some selection already, whether you make your based on your feeling whether it is appropriate or not. Then maybe list down up to 10. In this case, for example, like this here, improve good practice among target groups. So based on the discussion of the team discussion, probably like here, they based on like consulting with the secondary data, consulting with different experts, project managers, program managers, or advisor. Here's a number of potential indicators. Number of villagers who always consume sick or dead animal. Percentage of farmers who regularly immune the animals. So number 3, this indicator. Number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 indicators drafted here. So this is just example. I'm sorry, we cannot since this is learning video, we cannot discuss together whether which one is draft, but just walk you through the example here that this kind of example has been used. A group of people, they discuss, or how many officers, they discuss with their team, and then they come up with these indicators. So after getting this number of indicators, we can move to the second step, to the third step. So the third step is select 2 to 3 indicators out of 8 indicators. So we will select only 2 to 3 among those potential indicators. So why we select only 2 or 3? Here's some there's many questions also. I heard this very often, that people always ask me, in one outcome statement, how many indicators what is the number of indicator to measure one outcome statement or impact statement or even output statement? From my experience, I would recommend only 2 to 3. So the maximum only 3, and a good number is 2 actually. So if you can do 2 per one, income statement, that would be wonderful. If you can select 2 indicators, that's good. But in some cases, if you cannot do get it to only 1 indicator, that's fine. It's okay. Because I met this very often actually. In some cases, that you have to force yourself to use only one indicator. Sometimes there's too many indicators in your indicator list, then you have to use only one. Or some cases there's no more appropriate indicators, and also probably another indicators just need too much effort. Then you might feel like, okay, a one is enough for this. So that's okay in this case, but I would recommend to have two. What if you have more than two or more than three? And I saw some projects that have more, for one outcomes they have more than three indicators, 5, 10, like that. So in this case, as you can see here, we have how many here? We have like 11 statements that we would like to demonstrate the progress or measure the changes. Here for the outputs, as I mentioned, we would like to have a measurement to demonstrate the progress. And for this two outcomes and impacts, we need to demonstrate the changes. So there are 11 things that we would like to have indicators to measure. If you have 3 per one, 3 multiplied by 11, it is 33 indicators already, right? So in your logical framework, in your mail plans, you will have 33 indicators. That this amount, not too many, but already it's a lot, right? 33, that's already a lot of indicators to track, to monitor. But that's fine. If we feel like, okay, with this project, 33 indicators, that would be acceptable. But it's more than this. If you have 5, 6 per statement, how many did you have? If you have 5, right? 55 indicators. If you have 10, 110 indicators. That's too much, right? So indicator, remember that we know that having indicator meaning that we have to collect the data, and the data collection is associated with budget, associated with time. Make sure that we have enough budget, enough time to collect only an appropriate number of indicators. So from that, we have to select only 3, right? Now let's select 3 together. Again, I will just demonstrate you the process of selecting 3 out of this 8. Actually, you can discuss with me here. Oh, sorry, we don't have time to discuss together. But the way that we can shortlist them, by look at here the similarity, the measurable. Is there any similarity indicators here you can read, and then maybe that similar or one similar to another one, then you just drop one. Look at the measure, whether it can measure or not. Affordable, whether that indicator you can afford to collect it or not, and relevant to the change. So these are 4 criteria that you can shortlist or screen the indicators. By just have a look on these indicators, in fact, most of them are measurable, relevant, and affordable already. But just a similarity, probably just a key point that you can have a look in there. So I believe this need to have a long discussion with the team, or with using your expertise, your experiences in using this indicator, or consult with expertise that you have. Probably you have some come up with a good idea. They might tell you 1 is the most appropriate than another one to measure it. You have to select only 3, right? And at this time, we know that some indicators are not really smart yet, but we can discuss later on a smarting, make it smart. But now let's focus only on shortlist them. Now assume that they have a long discussion or days of discussions. Then they feel like an indicator number 1, number of villagers who always consume sick or dead animal is the most appropriate to measure the intended outcomes. Indicator number 4, village vet who is always using new syringe. And indicator number 8, always report sick and dead animals. Again, these indicator statements are not smart yet. We will work it out later on in the next step actually. So when we get the indicators here, we need to make them smart. If you already satisfied with this indicator, the team already satisfied that this indicator would be the most appropriate to measure the intended change, then we can improve these indicators. So now moving to the step 4, we will improve that indicators to make them smart by using the smart criteria here. Be specific, measurable, affordable, relevant, and time bound. So like in the criteria that we have, we already screen it. So let's work on the first indicator that we have here is the number of villagers who always consume sick or dead animals. So this indicator that based on our draft that we have this statement, indicator statement, we know this is not smart, right? So now let's make it smart. So how to make it smart or good indicators? It's not just I say good indicator here, it's not just only smart, because he's smart only this. They're smart, but a good indicator is more than that. So we also consider a good indicator. We also consider is that indicators for output, which is normally when we discuss it, it is used only for demonstrate the progress and start with the number, or this outcome level, which is outcome and impact level, which is used to measure changes. Then normally it start with percentage, and whether we would like to be interested to measure the quantity, or we would like to measure the quality, right? So that's kind of thing that we need to take into consideration as well when we revise the indicator. So now using that criteria, have a think about it, and then how do you come up with the revised indicator? Let's try it. Okay. Here's a new indicators that we after take all these factors for consideration. Then we add like percentage of target groups right here. Number here we just refer to number of villages, which is not really specific. Villages who's out there, we make this more specific. Target groups that we have. So we know that exactly in the project who are our target groups, right? In the village, who report always consuming sick or dead animals, decrease from X to Y by the end of project. So here we have the word percentage and decrease, which is using for outcome indicators that we discussed earlier. So this is the keywords that we have for outcome indicators. And we also add the time bound here, that for the smart criteria have a time bound. So is this indicator for qualitative or quantitative? Have a look here. Always consuming. So always consuming is a qualitative information, qualitative data that we would like to know. So this indicator can be classified as a qualitative indicator because it is capture the qualitative information. Like here, always consume, right? It's not just only report consuming. It's not just consuming. if it's just consuming, we don't know how often, how many, we don't know. But here when we add a frequency, always. So this is a qualitative indicator. Next indicator, village vet who is always using new syringe. Again, the words always is, we already know that there's more qualitative information. They would like to see qualitative rather than just quantitative. Not just only measure the number, but also would like to see the quality of using as well. How often. So we make this to like a percentage of target village vets. So it's not just village vet here. We add more specific, like target. We might, the target village vet in this project might be only 10 or 20. We don't know, but based on the project description, focus only target, right? Who report always using new syringe for each treatment. So we add more to be more specific for each treatment that they have. Increase from H to Y by the end of project. So here, like the same previous indicator, we have the word percentage and decrease. That just for the outcome indicators. Last one, always report the sick or dead animal case. So we improve this percentage of target groups who said always reporting the sick or dead animal case to relevant authorities increase from X to Y% by the end of project. So since this is outcomes indicator, percentage and word change, and add some word to be more specific. Target groups here, who reported target groups, and also report to relevant authorities. So that's make it more specific. So this is how we improve the indicators after you select 3, and then you can improve it to be a good indicators. In my definition, good indicators even better than a smart indicator. So in recap, just to recap what we discussed in this section in this learning video, there's two level of indicators. One is only for using to demonstrate the progress, which normally start with the number. And another one is using to demonstrate or measure the change, which normally it go along with the outcome and impacts. Can be called like outcome and impacts indicators, which mostly start with a percentage. That's that type of indicator, you can see it. And another type here is like I mentioned earlier, it is more focused on process or progress. So it also known as process indicators as well. For the type of indicators, there are only two types of indicators. Quantitative, more focusing on the quantity. They are not interested to see the how it was changed or what was changed. Not really, but just interested to see the percentage of change. But any indicator statement that add more qualitative or measure perception or measure image of a phenomenon, that is called qualitative indicators. Like we see earlier, just the same statement, but you add just the frequency, then can be called as qualitative indicators. And for the step of developing indicators, we have 4 steps as here. So the first step that we need to understand clearly what we would like to measure or what change we would like to see from our project. And then in the second step that we can track indicators based on the change we would like to see. And the third step, we need to select 2 to 3 indicators from the potential list. Last, but not least, we need to make them smart or good indicators that just discussed there. Thanks for watching this video, and hope you like it. And any questions, feel free to drop your comments in the comments box below. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer the questions. I'm happy to read your comments or feedbacks here, since I'm still working to improve this in making the videos. I apologize for my English, it's not really good. Since I'm not a English native speaker, but I try my best to make sure that I make it clear for you all. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, then you will get alert when I have a new video about these topics. Once again, thanks and good luck.